If you thought the Jeffrey Epstein files scandal couldn't get any bigger, you were wrong. This weekend, the political earthquake meter just went to level 10. We are talking about an unprecedented order coming directly from the White House, aimed squarely at a former president. The headline is a shockwave. Trump demands DOJ probe on Bill Clinton, the shocking Epstein file bombshell. This is not political theater. This is a sitting president publicly demanding the Justice Department investigate a former commander-in-chief over his past associations with the convicted sex offender. This is one of the most significant and arguably riskiest demands a president has ever made, and it threatens to blow open the entire political landscape. The Department of Justice has already confirmed it will proceed with the investigation. We're going to break down exactly what President Trump is demanding, what Bill Clinton's verifiable ties are, and why this is the political counterpunch of the century. Stick with us because the details of this probe and the real reason Trump is making this highly controversial move right now are more shocking than the title promises. The core of this story dropped late Friday, with the fallout dominating the entire Sunday news cycle. President Trump shattered the long-standing tradition of political distance by issuing a direct public order via social media. He stated, and I'm quoting directly, that he would be demanding Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice, and the FBI to launch a full investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's relationships with former President Bill Clinton, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman, and even financial institutions like J.P. Morgan Chase. This is not a subtle move. The sitting president has publicly ordered his chief law enforcement officer to investigate the political connections of a former president and his allies. The unprecedented nature of this demand immediately drew intense criticism from those who view it as a political weaponization of the DOJ. Yet the directive worked. Within hours, Attorney General Bondi confirmed the investigation was active, assigning a U.S. attorney to lead the probe. The context for this swift action is the weeks of escalating pressure on Trump himself following the release of Epstein emails that included claims the sex offender made about Trump's own knowledge of the criminal activities. By launching this full-frontal attack and labeling the focus on himself as the Epstein hoax, Trump is executing a calculated political counterpunch, shifting the intense spotlight entirely onto his Democratic adversaries. The crucial connection Trump is demanding the DOJ investigate revolves around the known yet heavily disputed ties between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. The relationship dates back to the early 2000s after Clinton left office, and the former president has admitted to socializing with Epstein for philanthropic purposes. The most explosive, verifiable fact is that Clinton took multiple trips. Flight logs indicate anywhere from 17 to 26 different segments on Epstein's private jet, infamously nicknamed the Lolita Express, between 2001 and 2003, traveling to Europe, Asia, and Africa. Clinton's camp has always maintained that his staff and Secret Service vetted these trips, and he has consistently asserted he had zero knowledge of Epstein's horrific crimes. A key document complicating the matter is a 2015 email from Epstein himself to a reporter, in which he emphatically denied claims that Clinton had ever been to Little St. James, the private Caribbean island central to the abuse. However, President Trump is publicly refuting that denial, claiming on social media that records show Clinton and others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. This he said, she said conflict, a statement from a convicted sex offender against a presidential claim, is the central, high-stakes political battle the newly launched DOJ probe will now have to navigate. It's also worth noting how fast the narrative moves. A viral rumor this weekend about the name Bubba in a leaked email supposedly pointing to Clinton was quickly debunked by Epstein's own brother as a private joke, illustrating the immense amount of misinformation currently swirling around these files. Beyond the political theater, the most serious implication rests on a fundamental legal question. Is the Justice Department eroding its independence? The bedrock tradition holds that the DOJ must operate independently from the White House. Attorney General Bondi's swift public compliance with the president's public demand has triggered alarm bells across the legal community. This is because the move represents a stunning reversal of the department's own previous position. An internal FBI memo from just a few months ago explicitly stated that an exhaustive review of the Epstein material had been conducted, and they had not uncovered evidence that would justify an investigation against uncharged third parties. For the DOJ to suddenly reverse course at the president's public urging, especially when Trump is simultaneously under intense scrutiny over his own connections in the files, is what numerous legal experts are calling an erosion of norms and a new low. The investigation, therefore, is much larger than Clinton or Trump. It represents a crisis point for the separation of powers. The investigation order includes several other politically significant targets, reinforcing the argument of calculated deflection. Larry Summers is a longtime Democratic figure and vocal critic of Trump's economic policies, while Reid Hoffman is a prominent Democratic donor who has forcefully pushed back on the president's claims. By casting a wide net that also includes the financial giant J.P. Morgan Chase, already disgraced for its association with Epstein, Trump is broadening the scope of the probe from simple political mudslinging to alleged corporate accountability, touching on populist themes that resonate deeply with the American public about institutions protecting the wealthy elite. The political consequence of this counterattack is immense, twisting the narrative away from Trump's own file disclosures and forcing Republicans who champion transparency into an agonizing position: support the president's deflection or vote to release files that might expose him further. Ultimately, this whole episode boils down to a fundamental test of the rule of law and political accountability. The coming weeks leading up to the scheduled House vote on the file release will be critical. If the files are released, the political landscape will be altered permanently, potentially revealing information about both political camps. If the files are blocked, the suspicion of a widespread cover-up will only intensify. The fact that the Attorney General swiftly complied with the president's public order despite previous internal findings signals that the erosion of departmental independence is real and ongoing. When a president uses the power of the FBI and the DOJ to target his political adversaries, the integrity of the entire system is at stake. The fate of this investigation and the truth about the Epstein file bombshell now hangs in the balance. This is a story that has only just begun, and its outcome will define more than just a scandal. It will define the limits of executive power. We will be tracking the House vote, the progress of the DOJ probe, and every public statement from the Clintons and the other key figures. So, what is your final verdict? Will this ordered investigation uncover new, concrete evidence that the FBI and the DOJ previously missed? Or is this the ultimate political smokescreen designed to protect the White House? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please hit that like button. It helps us keep this investigation going and ensures this news reaches everyone who needs to see it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video when we report on the results of the key House vote next week. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there.